It's very dark and scary.
Much. You're hired. Yeah, it'll be all right. I want to point out the J for Jerome over town. Once that sun fully sets, it'll light up. Solar-powered lights.
Top secret bunker. There's a top secret bunker.
Oh yeah? You see it. Your eyes should be on by the time we're done. And that big yellow building to the left of town, that is the Grand Hotel.
Yep, that's where we are.
Yeah, you are. Alrighty, we'll stick together for a few minutes, do a little walking, a little talking, talk about some of the history of this cemetery. We'll make our way to some of the graves we know the most about and hear the most from. I want to point out that the ground is very rocky, as you can tell, so do watch your step. Also be on the lookout for cactuses.
Oh, cactuses, that's
Oh. Yay, cactuses.
It is also that time of year, springtime. The critters are all out and about. I'm gonna lead the group. Please stay behind me. We do occasionally get scorpions, spiders, and snakes. So I'll go first and make sure that things are cleared out.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm. So with the ground being this rocky, it also means that it's really hard to dig into. So for most of the cemetery's history, 3 feet was about the best that they could do, instead of your customary 6. And at that depth, animals can smell your body. Some graves were getting dug up, and to help prevent that, they started giving some graves fences. And that all depended on how much money your family had. If your family had some money, get yourself a nice concrete base, wrought iron fence that will keep the javelina out. If your family didn't have as much money, your grave might look more like those ones down the hill. Those look like more like bed frames to me.
Right.
Yes.
Hopefully they at least had wire or something, because that is not going to keep the critters out.
Nope.
And if your family really didn't have any money, a lot of our graves are just stacks of rocks, like the one coming up here on your left. Honestly, does the job just as well. Now, whenever the Spanish flu hits an area, it does put a lot of patients into comas. This is the early 1900s. We don't have heart monitors. It can be hard to tell if you're alive or dead if you're in a deep coma. That did lead to some folks being buried alive. But again, if you had money, there was an option. You could get buried in a safety coffin. A breathing pipe would lead from your casket to the fresh air, and a mechanism would attach a bell to your body by a pressure plate or a string. The idea being that if you wake up in your
And
casket,
then you ring it.
the bell rings, the night watchman comes and digs you up. It's where we get saved by the bell, dead ringer, the graveyard shift, etc.
First cactus.
I had heard of that growing up. I thought that was all a bit of an urban legend. Started working here, found out it is very real. At this grave here, we can see a breathing pipe from a safety coffin. So imagine waking up in your own casket, breathing out of that, hoping and praying that someone comes and digs you up. Now, that is not a foolproof system.
Wait, am I the only one that
That's
doesn't
sad.
see it?
So right,
Little tubes that go.
Oh, I didn't see that.
tip of the beam there. Not a foolproof system.
What
I
about
have.
all the dirt and stuff that goes down?
What's that?
What about all the dirt that goes down the pipe?
So most of them, there's a lot of different patents. Most of them would have been built with little screens or roofs on them back in the day. Yeah, it's a good point, because you don't want like a bug crawling down there.
Yeah, that's what
Oh, yeah.
I've not found any verified, in my opinion, accounts that a safety coffin saved anyone's life in the United States, but I found several where it would have if something didn't go wrong. Some caskets have been recovered with gouges on the inside of the lids from people trying to claw back out. That's the worst thing I could imagine.
Oh, yeah.
So the spirits here have been through a lot. Despite that, they're some of the friendliest you'll ever meet. I've had them tell people they look pretty, say watch out before you trip over a rock. Sometimes they'll even ask us to stay. Seems like they appreciate the visits. As we make our way throughout the cemetery, keep in mind it's over 130 years old. When you add that much time, plus vandalization, plus illegal burials, it is impossible to know who all is buried here and where everyone is. So do your best to stay on the trails. If you wander off into a field, you'll step on a cactus, and there's a really good chance you'll walk on someone's grave and not know it.
There's a lot of offerings to your left.
Are any spirits here? Hello.
This is Clara. She's got the most beautiful headstone in the cemetery from her siblings. You can see that Clara died 110 years ago. Still looks brand new.
Yeah, it does. That's surprising.
Yeah. You'll see that some of the graves have coins, cool rocks, knickknacks left at them. Those are offerings that some folks leave to spirits they feel connected to. There's some religious and cultural significance for some folks as well. So in my opinion, Clara has quite the lovely gravesite. And to contrast that, we have Mark. We don't know much about Mark other than he's Mark, and he's there underneath these rocks. Mark and Clara like to light up an EMF reader every now and again. They'll say hello sometimes when they're around. This large plot here belongs to the twins, Gracie and George. Gracie and George died at the age of 18, 2 months apart from one another from yellow fever. Gracie's on the left, George is on the right. I'm glad they have each other. I can only imagine what their family went through. That tan headstone there is Jason. He died in the Spanish-American War. Behind him is Peter, comes to us from Italy. They can be a little hit or miss. Sometimes they'll say hi, sometimes they'll ignore you, sometimes they'll ask you to leave. The large headstone here is James Kelly from Ireland. You can see someone broke in the side of his headstone and took his possessions out. There's a tin sign to his right, that is Andrea. And the next fence over is Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve is missing his gate. Someone used it as a trellis in their garden and took it. And if you're on your tippy toes, you might be able to see that there's a narrow path that goes to the right of Dr. Steve back down the hill. Leads you to a small grave with a cross. That is Bruno. Bruno came to us from Berlin, Germany, and at the age of 4.5 was getting his tonsils removed and was given too much anesthesia. He did not wake back up. So he can be a little shy. I ask that if you'd like to visit Bruno, same with John, introduce yourself, ask if you can approach. If you hear a yes or nothing, feel free to visit. If you hear a young boy's voice or an older man's voice, that's Tony, his guardian, asking you not to visit. I'll ask that you respect their wishes. All right, so we got Mark and Clara, Gracie and George, Jason and Peter, James Kelly, Dr. Steve, Bruno and Tony. About 400 others here as well. You can go ahead and follow your intuition. If you didn't memorize all that, I'll be floating around.
Yeah. Hello. May I approach? I feel so bad for this guy. He got his possessions stolen. Yeah. How are you doing? How are you doing? Is the Andrea? Hello, Andrea. Do you feel like talking to me? Are you a little shy? See you next time, Andrea. I'm going this way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is. It leads down to Bruno and Tony. Here's the real path. I just made up half that path. Oh. Dad, can I hold that? Can I check out? Can you make a nice video for me?